And speculation is rife over the possible cabinet rejig of Prime Minister Modi's cabinet. India Today has learned that the mega Modi cabinet rejig is likely to take place on Thursday. Several leaders have been summoned to Delhi, including Jyotiraditya Scindia, Narayan Rane, Sarbananda Sonowal and Shantanu Thakur. These leaders are expected to land in Delhi post 3 p.m. BJP Chief JP Nadda is going to be meeting all BJP cabinet probables from tomorrow. Approximately over 20 new faces will be inducted into the new cabinet and several sitting ministers may be dropped. MPs from Bengal, Maharashtra and UP will be given priority along with ally in UP's Apna Dal and Nishant Party. From Bihar, JDU and LJP's Paras fraction is going to get some representation. As per sources, the cabinet rejig aims to correct the regional representation ahead of assembly elections in 5 states, including UP, slated to take place next year. It also aims at doing a mid-term course correction and shape up administrative governance.
यहाँ से मैं जा रहा हूँ कई जगह श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करने के लिए, फिर बीजेपी कार्यालय भी मैं जा रहा हूँ, 2-3 लोगों के यहाँ भी जा रहा हूँ और ऐसा ही विस्तृत दौरा।
ना इसमें मैं तय करने वाला हूँ, ना आपको इन्फॉर्म करने वाला हूँ। जो उचित लोग हैं वही इस पे आपको कोई जानकारी दे पाएंगे।
चर्चा करने से कोई इसमें परिवर्तन होने वाला नहीं है, कोई लाभ भी होने वाली है। केंद्र सरकार के हाथ में है, माननीय मोदी जी हमारे नेता है, वो जो तय करेंगे वही होगा और पार्टी जिसको जो जिम्मेदारी देगा वो संभालेगा। कि व्यक्ति की विशेषता इसमें नहीं है।
जनता दल यूनाइटेड केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल में शामिल होगी और कौन मंत्री बनेंगे ये विशेषाधिकार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के हैं। थोड़ा इंतजार कर लीजिए, निश्चित रूप से आप सबको स्पष्ट रूप से मिल जाएगी खबर।
Ashutosh Mishra is getting us more details on that story. He joins us from the airport there in Delhi. Interesting place to be in, Ashutosh. That's how you get to know who is in the national capital. And I believe Scindia, Sarbananda Sonowal have already arrived. Just tell us what's really going on.
So I really won't be surprising the number of faces that I'll be seeing in a few minutes. I mean, minutes from now, they'll be coming from this VIP gate at Terminal 3 in the national capital. Of course, these are the faces that are going to be inducted in the Union Cabinet. So you call it rejig, you call it cabinet expansion, you call it mid-term course correction. But the first phase in few minutes that is going to arrive here is the former Chief Minister of Assam, Sarbananda Sonowal, a man who has been with the BJP, who was seen as a face of BJP in Assam, and now since there is a change of guard, there is another chief minister, he is likely to be inducted in the Union Cabinet. And later, Sachin Pilot, who is also from Indore at around 3:30, so maybe in the next 20 to 30 minutes, he will also be arriving. So all those faces, there are multiple camera persons, all the cameras are on, only now looking at this VIP gate of the Terminal 3. The faces, those who will be walking out one after one, are more likely to be seen in the Union Cabinet when the new face of the Modi cabinet with the expansion that will be announced on 8 July in the morning in the first half. Sneha.
All right, be with us. We'll just come back to you for more on that, Ashutosh. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the top political developments as a recap, so to speak, on the much anticipated reshuffle. India Today has learned that the cabinet rejig is going to reportedly take place on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Sources have told India Today that the final names for the cabinet reshuffle is going to be announced on Thursday by the government. BJP leaders who are likely to be inducted in the cabinet have been summoned to Delhi. India Today has the inside track, and leaders like Scindia, Sonowal and Narayan Rane have been summoned to the national capital. All the BJP cabinet probables are headed to Delhi as we speak right now, and they will be reportedly meeting with BJP Chief JP Nadda starting tomorrow onwards. Nadda is in Himachal Pradesh and he is going to be headed back to Delhi this evening. He will also meet those leaders who are going to be dropped from the cabinet. Thawar Chand Gehlot, who was part of the Modi cabinet, has now been appointed as the governor of Karnataka. Gehlot was the social justice minister, and that means this ministry is now vacant, and the cabinet rejig is going to fill this post as well. This after the government ordered a major rejig of governors. Rahul Srivastav continues to be with us from the national capital. Ashutosh is also with us. Abhishek is from Lucknow. Paulami Saha is reporting from central Delhi. Sahil Joshi is getting us the very latest from Mumbai. First to our national affairs editor, Rahul Srivastav. Rahul, just get us the inside track of the names that are doing the rounds, the names that are picking up, and also the manner in which Thawar Chand Gehlot has been appointed as the governor just gives an indication that there would be an honorable exit for quite a few of them, isn't it?
Yes, Nehal. See, the exercise was supposed to be an administrative shape-up, midterm course correction, and also a political signaling. Now, in that, there were initially doubts. What we were told on last week by our sources, that any time after 7th July morning, or maybe after the Prime Minister address on the 15th of August from the ramparts of the Red Fort. But now with the, then we got the information, most likely tomorrow evening or day after morning. The key factor which happened is that Mr. Thawar Chand Gehlot sent out from the council ministers to be the Karnataka governor. Now, he was not only a minister in the council of ministers, but also the leader of the house in the Rajya Sabha. Now, since he has gone, the Prime Minister will have to bring in somebody to replace him in the house, means that has to happen before the monsoon session of Parliament starts. So that's one element. The important element is definitely performance. Because the performance criteria, Thawar Chand Gehlot has gone. There is a question mark over the health minister. There are nearly 3 to 4 other ministers about whom there are such questions. There are nearly 5 ministers who have too many portfolios, so they will be shedding their portfolios. There are new men coming in. Jyotiraditya Scindia brings in UPA level experience of being a minister of state. Sarbananda Sonowal comes from Assam, also was youth minister in 2014. Dr. Pritam Munde is likely to come from Maharashtra. Narayan Rane is coming from Maharashtra. We are hearing that Ashwini Vaishnav, an IAS officer, ex-IAS officer, Rajya Sabha member, likely to be coming in. Mr. Baijend Panda coming in. So a lot of new faces, regional representation, bringing expertise to the table, fresh legs. This is what the Prime Minister's exercise is going to be, preparing for the next 5 elections coming and also for 2024.
Rahul, be with us. We'll just come back to you for more on that story. We're continuing to keep a close eye on this. India Today has the biggest scoop and the inside track on this mega Modi cabinet reshuffle. Sources are telling us that over 20 changes are likely in the Council of Ministers. 3 ministers are under lens of performance issues. Burden of ministers with many portfolios could be reduced. Polls in 5 states obviously is going to be factored in, given the kind of imbalance that the Prime Minister really would want to fix just before the Assembly elections. Inductions likely from Uttarakhand is going to polls again, Haryana and Karnataka. BJP leaders from Bengal may also find a place. Meanwhile, Paulami also continues to be with us. We'll just go back to our reporters in a bit from now.
बहुत उनका एक अनुभव भी रहा और हमारे वर्तमान के महान व्यक्तित्व के धनी थावर चंद गहलोत जी को भी मैं दिल के गहराइयों से बधाई देना चाहता हूं। कर्नाटक के राज्यपाल के रूप में पद ग्रहण करने जा रहे हैं। बहुत महत्वपूर्ण जिम्मेदारी है और मुझे दिल की गहराइयों से बहुत खुशी है कि थावर चंद जी के साथ 3 पीढ़ियों का संबंध रहा है और एक बहुत अहम जिम्मेदारी और उनको बहुत बहुत हृदय की गहराइयों से बधाई।
आप तैयार हैं कोई नई जिम्मेदारी के लिए?
Paulami Saha is with us. Abhishek Mishra is also getting us more from Lucknow. I'll go across to my colleagues from Mumbai as well. Sahil Joshi is there. First to you, Paulami, you know, the question mark really on one such name that has been doing the rounds is that of Dr. Harshvardhan. Just give me an idea about this. Isn't this a tightrope walk for the government? Given the fact that if at all there is a reshuffling and that involves the Union Health Minister, will that not be an admission of sorts that perhaps the pandemic was not handled well? And we have an upcoming parliament session as well. The opposition undoubtedly is going to gear out the government on this, isn't it?
Well, obviously, the pandemic management is going to be one of the key focuses of the opposition in the upcoming monsoon session of Parliament. The subsequent vaccination program. Several states have complained about shortage of vaccines, that the centre is not providing them with enough vaccines, that they have been compelled to shut down vaccination centres as well. So yes, the management of the pandemic is going to be one of the key highlights of the upcoming session of Parliament. So at this time, changing the health minister of the country could definitely be a very challenging decision that the government could be taking. Yes, it is still not confirmed. There is a lot of speculation about it, but like you rightly pointed out, it could possibly be an admission of the fact that it could have been better managed in terms of the central government's handling of the COVID-19 situation. Yes, it has been a very dynamic situation. Nobody, no state government, no central government anywhere was prepared for the pandemic and the challenges that it brought with it, especially with a pandemic that almost changes its face practically every month in the way that we are faced with challenges. So it has been difficult, but there has been a lot of back and forth between the state governments and the central government, which has been a bit of a blow for the process of handling the pandemic and of course the vaccination process. So it remains to be seen if if Dr. Harshvardhan is, of course, given any entrusted with any sort of other responsibility, while we bring in a new health minister who possibly is someone from within the system itself, who, of course, can handle the challenge, or there is a lateral entry into the Union Council.
Sure, Paulami, be with us. Just coming back to you. Meanwhile, there's a lot of suspense on who is going to be in and who is going to be out. Sources are telling India Today's political reporters that this is going to be a major reshuffle. So who will be the new faces? Let's take a look. Swatantrata Dev Singh, UP BJP president, is likely to be inducted. Ashwani Vaishnav, Rajya Sabha MP from Odisha again. Bijayant Panda, again the BJP's vice president, also from Odisha, may get a berth. So there is some sort of a regional representation that's happening from Odisha. That's the pattern as per our sources. Dr. Preetam Gopinath Rao Munde, MP from Bid in Maharashtra and daughter of Gopinath Munde, late Gopinath Munde. Narayan Rane, Maharashtra strongman, and the Maratha faces that may be part of the new cabinet. Varun Gandhi, again MP from Pilibhit in UP, may find a spot. Sarbananda Sonowal, the former Chief Minister of Assam, who made way for Himanta Biswa Sarma in the state, is going to be accommodated and is already on his way to Delhi. This was much talked about in the past as well. Jyotiraditya Scindia, inducted in the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2020, has been waiting for his turn to be made a minister for quite some time now. He's also in Delhi. Anupriya Patel, again the president of Apna Dal, a key ally of the BJP in UP, may be finally accommodated. She was in fact a minister earlier, at least a minister of state. Rajiv Ranjan Singh, JDU MP from Munger, so you have an alliance partner again in Bihar. Santosh Kushwaha, who's a JDU MP from Purnia, are the names from Bihar again doing the rounds. Pashupati Paras, LJP MP from Hajipur in Bihar, who's taken control of the party after a fallout with his nephew Chirag Paswan, is also going to be brought in all possibility. Praveen Nishad, he is BJP's MP from UP's Sant Kabir Nagar. Praveen is the son of Sanjay Nishad, who is the founder of the Nishad Party. So this is Team Modi's reshuffle. We just got you some of the probable names that have been doing the rounds. The effort clearly is to do a mid-course correction, so to speak, and also then to bring in some new faces. Regional representation ahead of the elections in many of these states, some representation from Odisha, some people who've joined the BJP just recently from other parties like Jyotiraditya Scindia, for example, who's joined from the Congress. Sarbananda Sonowal, interestingly, who was the Chief Minister of Assam. The BJP won in Assam but brought in Himanta Biswa Sarma as the Chief Minister of Assam, so an attempt really to placate Sarbananda Sonowal. On your screen right now as we speak, pictures of Sarbananda Sonowal arriving at the Delhi airport, I believe. We'll just get an update on that from Ashutosh Mishra, who continues to be with us. So that indeed is Sarbananda Sonowal, who's arrived from Assam. Remember, he served as the Chief Minister of Assam before Himanta Biswa Sarma took over from him, made way for Himanta Biswa Sarma. A lot of speculation that an attempt would be made to placate this man in the cabinet, and it looks extremely possible. JP Nadda, the national president of the BJP, is going to be meeting all of these leaders tomorrow onwards. He is in Himachal Pradesh today. The meeting starts tomorrow onwards with various leaders. So speculations arrive that Himanta Biswa in fact, Sarbananda Sonowal is going to be placated. Himanta, of course, continues to be the Chief Minister of Assam. Among the other names are that of Jyotiraditya Scindia, like I just mentioned. And okay, going back to my colleagues who continue to be with us, Sahil Joshi, I believe, is in Mumbai. Sahil, quite a bit of representation as far as Maharashtra is concerned. Just get us up to speed with the names that are doing the rounds and what do they bring to the table in terms of the regional representation?
Well, Maharashtra, first of all, the central cabinet needs to fill in the post which is made vacant by resignation of Arvind Sawant, who was representing Shiv Sena in the Modi cabinet. In 2019, when Shiv Sena and the BJP parted ways, Arvind Sawant resigned. So obviously that particular position is empty. But at the same time, looking at the position in Maharashtra, the total tally which adds from Maharashtra in the NDA was 41, if we include Shiv Sena and BJP together. So it's a huge number. And of course, the BJP wants to look at all the political combinations if tomorrow it comes that the BJP will have to go solo in 2024. So obviously, Narayan Rane's name comes first because he's a diehard opponent of the Shiv Sena. He comes from the Konkan region. He has a Maratha background. So obviously, a person who can represent the Maratha community in the central cabinet can be Narayan Rane. He is a political bigwig. He has been the Chief Minister of Maharashtra and the Revenue Minister in Ashok Chauhan's and Prithviraj Chauhan's cabinet. The second name which was taking rounds was Ranjit Naik Nimbalkar from Western Maharashtra. But he was also a former Congress leader, now part of the BJP, comes from Madha constituency, which used to be represented by Sharad Pawar in 2009. But right now, I spoke to Ranjit Nimbalkar. He's saying that he's not been getting a call. But most importantly, the accommodation in this cabinet, the Council of Ministers, will be from Bid. Dr. Pritam Munde, who is daughter of late Gopinath Munde, and of course, the younger sister of Pankaja Munde, another political bigwig in Maharashtra, Maharashtra BJP, who lost, unfortunately, election in 2019. But commands a hold over the OBC community, which used to be a backbone of BJP in Maharashtra. So obviously, to accommodate that community, Pritam Munde will be given a preference. But there are multiple other names which are taking rounds, like Kapil Patil, MP from Bhiwandi, Dr. Hina Gavit, again, former NCP and now represents a tribal constituency like Nandurbar. The BJP
will be with us. Narayan Rane, in fact, is speaking to the press. Let's just go across to him.
संकासूर नावाचा एक कॅरेक्टर आहे चंद्रकांत दादा पाटील. तो वेगवेगळे भेष बदलतो, तो एकसारखा दिसत नाही. आज असा असतो तो दुसरा तसा असतो. त्याच्यातला ते भास्कर जाधव हा सोंगाडे आहे. आम्ही कोकणातले लोक जे त्यांना ओळखतो त्यांना माहिती आहे की भास्कर जाधव आज एका मिनिटाला काय बोलला तर दुसऱ्या मिनिटाला काय दुसरा बोलेल. मला आश्चर्य असं वाटलं की काल त्यांनी स्वतःचे कपडे का फाडून घेतले नसतील. काल तो रडला कसा नाही हे आश्चर्य माझ्यासारख्या एका कोकणी वाचल्याला वाटतं. सोंगाड्या तसा तालिका अध्यक्षावर पण बसलेला आणि मुख्यमंत्रीच्या खुर्चीवर पण बसलेला. कारण का सोंगाड्यांचं हे सरकार आहे आणि त्या कॅबिनमध्ये मला आश्चर्य वाटतं की भास्कर जाधवला आई बहिणीची शिवाय कोण देऊ शकते हे माझ्यासारख्या व्यक्तीला आश्चर्य वाटतं. कारण का जो भास्कर जाधव
Well, this is Nitesh Rane, Narayan Rane's son, who is speaking at Maharashtra Assembly. The Maharashtra BJP has come out of the assembly session right now. Yesterday, 12 BJP MLAs were suspended by the speaker in Maharashtra Assembly for creating ruckus. Now, so what we can see right now is the BJP is holding a parallel session within the assembly premises, and Nitesh Rane, who hails from Kankavli constituency, is making a speech there. He is targeting the MVA government, saying specifically Aditya Thackeray, saying that how the Uddhav Thackeray and his family is involved in the corruption which is happening in places like Mumbai, specifically during the pandemic, is being supported by the Thackeray family. It's a major allegation leveled by Nitesh Rane while speaking in the parallel assembly session which is being conducted at in Mumbai at this point of time in the premises of Maharashtra Assembly. The BJP has refused to participate in the assembly session as the 12 of the BJP MLAs have been suspended at this point of time by the Maharashtra Deputy Speaker, and against that the BJP MLAs are holding this parallel session. He's saying that we take pride in this fact that our MLAs actually raise the issues of people within the assembly, and that's why they have been suspended at this point of time.
आणि नेमकं हे एवढं डरपोक सरकार नेमकं कसं असू शकतं हा माझ्यासारखा जुना शिवसैनिक विचार करतो. जे बाळासाहेब
He's saying that I am a former Shiv Sainik and I wonder that how this cowardly act has been done by a person like Uddhav Thackeray who calls himself son of Balasaheb Thackeray.
भाषण करत असताना सर्वात भित्रा प्राणी हा ससा म्हणून असं ओळखला.
All right, so here from Nitesh Rane, the son of Narayan Rane, who was talking about the developments as far as the assembly is concerned, taking on the government in the state of Maharashtra, going across to Abhishek, who is with us from Lucknow. Abhishek, as far as UP is concerned, the state going to polls in 2022, the BJP has to have adequate representation of its allies in UP, and that's the reason why these names that are doing the rounds just get us the inside track of whom all does the BJP have to accommodate. All right, we'll just come back to that piece of information, but we have some news just coming in. A JDU representative is also headed to Delhi for discussion on cabinet berth. This is JDU's RCP Singh is coming to Delhi again an alliance partner in the state of Bihar. Well, this is the party is demanding proportional representation in the cabinet. JDU's stand is that the party has 16 MPs from Bihar, therefore at least 4 MPs should be accommodated in the union cabinet. So there should be enough accommodation to look at the proportion of MPs in parliament as well. The JDU, which is the alliance partner of the BJP in Bihar, is wanting a good representation as far as its own MPs are concerned, and it says of the 16 MPs, at least give portfolios to 4. That's the demand, and one of the MPs is headed to Delhi, is what we are learning. Well, a big factor in the upcoming reshuffle is going to be the assembly polls that is slated for next year, and the most important among them is UP. Sources have told India Today that with this reshuffle, the Prime Minister may try to correct some regional representation and imbalances in that sense. So Anupriya Patel from Apna Dal is likely to get a berth. Nishad Party representative is also going to be getting a berth in all possibility. Prominent Brahmin and Dalit leaders may also be brought in. Well, there is speculation that UP BJP President Swatantra Dev is also going to be brought to Delhi, but sources within the BJP say that this would mean getting a new state unit chief just months before polls. Abhishek Mishra is in Lucknow getting us more on that story. Talking about UP, one has to keep in mind that 2022 is when the state goes to polls and that the allied partners have to be kept happy.
Well, absolutely, Neha. That's the reason that earlier also we have seen how Anupriya Patel reached Delhi, also Sanjay Nishad, and all these alliance partners who are very important for the NDA in Uttar Pradesh is all for the 2022 battle. And in this cabinet reshuffle and expansion, we can certainly say that 3 to 4 ministers can come from Uttar Pradesh. Of course, the name of the state president is also in the running now, with the fact that there is a possibility of a change in the leadership in Uttar Pradesh. Other than that, Varun Gandhi also has come up as a prominent contender. His mother was one of the ministers in the first cabinet of the Modi government, and at the same time, there could be representation of a Brahmin face, or also of one Dalit face. So all these factors are very important, not only in terms of giving a representation from a state with maximum number of Lok Sabha constituencies, but looking at the fact that how the allies were not happy, and at the same time 2022, which is again a very important battle for the UP for the BJP, and that's the reason that more representation is expected from Uttar Pradesh, and the names which are coming are giving us an indication that it's going to be a balance of the caste, and at the same time making sure that the representation is equal from the organization and from the ally partners as well. Yes.
All right, thanking all of you for getting us up to speed with that. Well, we'll keep coming back to all our reporters getting us every single detail on that big story that we are tracking. Meanwhile, India Today has the inside track on the big Modi 2.0 cabinet rejig. Another factor that's going to come into play this time is lessening the burden of ministers who currently hold many portfolios. Well, some of them are Hardeep Puri, who holds Housing and Urban Affairs, Civil Aviation, Commerce and Industry. He is the Minister of State. Narendra Singh Tomar is Minister for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Rural Development, Panchayati Raj and Food Processing. Piyush Goyal has got 4 portfolios: Railways, Commerce, Industry, Consumer Affairs and Food and Public Distribution. Prakash Javadekar has 4 portfolios as well, which is Information and Broadcasting. Is the Environment Minister, Heavy Industries, Public Enterprises as well. Ravi Shankar Prasad has got 3 key ministries: Law, Telecommunications, Electronics and Information Technology. So that is going to be again another factor, that all of these ministers in fact are having multiple portfolios, and there needs to be equal division of labor, so to speak. Rahul Srivastav, our National Affairs Editor, also continues to be with us on that story. Rahul, right in the very beginning in 2014, the Prime Minister's mantra was minimum, there has to be maximum governance in that sense, and the idea was to keep the cabinet size small, but it does appear that that is not something that's going to be possible again in this cabinet reshuffle as well, isn't it?
Sneha, in 2014, the Prime Minister created the idea of minimum government, maximum governance. And that is the time the Prime Minister talked about having super ministries, ministries which are related to each other, say transport, highways and shipping. Nitin Gadkari as a nodal in charge for all these ministries. But eventually, even if we look at the slow dismantling of that formula, we have a capacity of 81 ministers in the council, and you have only 58 right now. There are 23 vacant. So it's not, compared to the past coalition governments and all, where Atal Bihari Vajpayee had nearly 80 odd ministers, it's still a smaller council of ministers. But yes, there are certain ministers who are overburdened, who have some very diverse ministries under them. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Law, IT, perhaps related. But the fact is that he also has communication. Then you have somebody like Piyush Goyal, who after Mr. Ramvilas Paswan passed away, has been handling consumer affairs. Though we are told that Mr. Paras, the brother of Mr. Ramvilas Paswan, just as a way to keep the LGP breakaway faction happy, is going to get a place in the council, but he's not likely to get a crucial ministry like consumer affairs. Hardeep Puri, for example, has got civil aviation, urban development, and also has Minister of State for Commerce. It could well be that his expertise of having dealt with the WTO in the past as an IFS officer, and now having learned his lessons or learned the ropes in the Ministry of Commerce, could well get full-fledged charge of the Ministry of Commerce. You have Mr. Piyush Goyal, Railways, he has got Commerce, and he has also got other ministries. There is going to be a diversification and distribution, so that there could be proper allocation and ministries could be working well.
All right. Rahul, thanks for getting us up to speed with that. Thank